Hello, everybody out in Asia Pacific and beyond. We are Google Educator Groups from the Asia Pacific region, and we have just started a new initiative where we've got monthly events every second Saturday at different times. And we'll show you where you can get that information in just a moment. But today we're going to jump right in by introducing our panel first. So we're going to start from the way I see the screen here. Harpreet, tell us who you are, where you're at, a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, hello from India. I am Harpreet from GEG Ludhiana, India. I'm a primary school teacher and happy to be here.
Wonderful. Pana, can you tell us about yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm from India too. I'm from Surat actually, from Gujarat. So one of the state of India, plus vice principal in one of the schools and having a teaching experience of 28 years. And it's a great fun to meet these people today with Japan and everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful. Aaron, tell us about yourself.
Hey there, I'm Aaron Noxon. I'm here in Kyoto, Japan. I'm GEG leader of GEG Kyoto, which is the second oldest GEG in Japan, only because Nate beat me by a month. And we have a lot of fun doing cool stuff. So it's going to be nice to meet everybody and do this tonight. I'm excited. Nate.
Hey, wonderful. And we've got Sudeepa in the chat there. She's also in India. We'll be checking her GEG Kolkata, kind of leading another session a little bit later. But Kunie, tell us about yourself, please.
Yeah, my name is Kunie Yamada. I'm from Japan. I'm GEG Nagoya reader. Nice to meet you.
All right, thanks. I'm happy to join you. And my name is Nate Gildart, originally from Canada, but I've been in Japan, as we were just talking, for about 25 years. And yes, I beat Aaron by 1 month to get GEG West Tokyo launched, the first one in Japan. But Aaron's second, and it doesn't really matter because we have loads and loads now, and that's what we want. I'm also a GEG leader for Nagoya now, not West Tokyo anymore. I teach history and individuals and societies at Nagoya International School. It's a full IB school. Now, I just want to quickly share my screen and let you know where you can find information on all of these Google Educator Group Asia Pacific events. And and all right, here we go. So this is the GEG Asia Pacific Connect website. You can learn about GEGs and what they are. But if you go to events, you can click and find we have 2 major events every year where we've got like literally about 150 to 200 presenters all across the Asia Pacific region in well over a dozen languages. And we have our monthly online sessions, which is a new initiative. Tonight is the launch. So, for example, tips and tricks demo slams in all these different languages. You can go back and watch these if you don't get a chance to see them live. And in November, we are talking about gamification. But we're gonna get right into it now. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna turn it over to Harpreet, who's gonna talk to you about our first topic. We have a nice long list of topics here. We've got Google Docs, we've got Google Forms, we've got IORAD and Apple Clips. It's not all just Google. We're gonna talk about YouTube, Classroom, Calendar, Gmail, things that you probably don't know about. So, Harpreet, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Nate, for that wonderful welcome. I'm sure the audience are looking forward to this fun-filled session. I'm going to share my screen and let me know if it's visible. And there it goes. I'm going to start with Google Docs and what fun we can do with Google Docs. We know in general what Google Docs is all about. So here I'm going to start with a document wherein I've got this HyperDoc, which has got several links. It's a geometry lesson that you can use as an example. And it's got a couple of sections which says us as engage, explore, explain, apply, and all those. And I'm going to add here a video. But before that, let's look at a doc wherein you can add a video as well as you can just add a link. So I have just had a video here. So I'm going to copy this link is what this video I want to insert in my doc. I Control-C, Control-V. I have this link. Now, when I click on this link, it gives me here. Let's see. Okay, there it goes. If I click on this link, it gives me a preview of what I can see. So here I've got this preview, which is a new feature of Google. You can already have this video in your Google Doc. While kids are exploring other things, they can still open. I click on this and you don't have to go anywhere.
Kid.
The students are within the doc. They can scroll down to the information you've shared with them. At the same time, they can keep watching the link or the tutorial you've shared with them. You can enlarge it and it goes on to a next window. But for the moment, we stay in Google Docs. We click on this. You can turn it into a smart chip as well. So if I click on this, here it goes. My link has changed into a smart chip and it does the same job. It just looks more synchronous, more aligned, and more nicer. Second thing, if you want to add a video onto an existing doc. So here it is. I want to add a video, but as you know, inserting video is not possible in Google Doc directly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a Google slide. Here, I'm going to open a new slide. I am going to insert an image in my a video in my slide. So here, I'm going to just take a blank one. I'm going to insert a video here from Google Slide. Let's say I want to add symmetrical figures. I keep it as geometry, simple, pretty easy. Here it's a video. I insert this onto my slide. I click on this. And I can see this video is pretty long. I will now do a second tip, which is our cropping of the video. So on the right side, the moment you click on this object, that's the video, it opens a panel on the right side of your slide deck. So here I'm going to clip it up. I just want the kids to see until 2 minutes and 47 seconds. I am good to go. I will copy this. I go back to my document where I want this video to be. Now here, again, if I right click and paste, it would not do that. So I need to insert it as a drawing object. I click on insert, drawing, a new drawing, and this is where the magic happens. There you go. You've got the object here. You click on save and close, and it is inserted in the place you'd right away want in your doc. You have to click to view it, double click. It opens as a drawing object. You click on this. Again, a double click. Your video is up and on.
Today we will learn.
And there it is.
Figures.
You close it. Your video is inserted in a Google Doc. I guess that's it for the moment. What do you think, Nate? Isn't it cool?
I've just posted it too. Like, that is totally fantastic. That's something I tend not to do myself, but from here on in, I definitely will be doing that. Absolutely love it. Great tip on docs. And I do like the smart chip that they put in the docs where you can see the drop down, or sorry, the thumbnail of the YouTube video, the preview.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Wonderful. We're going to turn it over now to Aaron, who's going to show you something on Google Classroom. Aaron, over to you.
All right, let me get in here. All right, so I am like the Google person at my school, and I'm like the only Google person at my school. I don't know if you guys feel like that sometimes. And so I was talking to Nate, what could I do today? Like, I don't know anything like really cool and amazing because I'm just trying to get people started. And he said, do that, get everybody started, like show them what they should see that maybe they didn't know. So I was like, all right. So I'm going to go into Google Classroom. And one of the first things I do, especially like if you are like having to train people and how to do stuff, like this is a really, really, hold on, I haven't shared my screen yet. This is a really, really important thing to do. I'm going to share, oh, there I can share my Chrome tab. I should really practice this first. All right, here we go. I set up an example classroom. So how I set up an example classroom is I copy one of my classrooms and that already has tons of assignments in it. So this one is one that I had copied from a previous year, and it already has a ton of assignments in it. Then you can add all the teachers who you need to have practice all of this stuff to this classroom, and they can do it. All right, you guys can see my classroom here, right? All right. Now, the first thing maybe you notice all the time about Classroom is that the stream gets really messy. You end up having all these announcements and all kinds of other stuff in there. And I don't know if you have this problem, but kids will click like in one place and see the assignment, Or then maybe you want them to go to classwork and see the assignments there because maybe you organize it in classwork. Well, if you go to this little gear over here and go into the settings for your class, there is a setting right here that says what happens in the stream, classwork on the stream. I always tell the teachers, change this to hide notifications. This will clean up your stream completely. And then when you go out into stream, it's just going to be messages that you send to the whole class or to the other kids. And then you can control how the students see the assignments because they're just going to see them in the classwork tab. And then you can arrange them with topics. You can arrange them. You can, I don't know if you know this, you can just pick up any of these topics at any time and move them to any place you want. I know this because I accidentally drag them half the time up and down in different places. But just like, for me, it's really important that I tell the kids go to this topic and find this assignment because I want them to be able to find it in the same place every time. There's all kinds of other things in the settings here you can play with. We have got your who can comment. I had some of these teachers going, I just can't use this Google Classroom because the kids are always commenting on stuff. And I said, well, come in here and make it so that only teachers can post or comment. Or, hey, maybe make it so that students can only comment. So if you want them to, write a comment to you, you have to start the conversation. There's all kinds of settings you can play with in here. I always set my grade categories based on percentages. So I have pronunciation practice things that I do, listening activities. I can adjust it based on those. I can weight it by categories. Then after you come out in here, I don't want to save my changes. Go into your main classroom with all of your different things. There's a settings out here too, your overall Google Classroom settings. You can change things. How do you want to get your notifications? Do you want to get them by email? When do you want to get a notification? Is it just for classes you teach? Is it invitations from other classes? And then down here, this is a really, really important one. Because you'll see, these are all of the classes that I'm in my school. Maybe there's some that I don't want to receive notifications on. So I can actually turn those off. And then I'm not going to get notifications from those classes because I don't really want to know because I just happen to be in those classes, but I don't need to see everything that's coming across. So settings. Play with your Google Classroom settings. It will help you out an awful lot and it'll make your stream clean. And then when the kids are looking at things, they're just going to see the stuff that you want them to see. They're not going to see all the other like gobbledygook and stuff that you got going on in there. So make it look nice. That's it.
Super wonderful, cool, love it. I'm going to make one suggestion too. You know what I do with my Google Classrooms is for my topics, right? I put in little emojis, right? So if we're studying the history, of Japan in the 20th century, I'll put a little Japanese flag emoji there. Or if it's an assessment, I'll put a piece of paper and a pencil emoji or books for resources. Personalize it, right? Google Classroom's a lot of fun. I'm going to turn it over before I get into my thing on YouTube. We're going to turn it over to Kunie-san. So are you ready? Or do you want me to go?
Sorry. Yes.
Okay, great. So we'll turn it over to Kunie.
I present a lot. I learned a few days ago. just let's start. I will share. Share screen.
That's okay. Take your time.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi. Okay.
これで
Go ahead.
いや、違う。これ。まず、ピンクのこのアイオロットを push and capture plus capture push the start 3, 2, 1
ゆっくりしてね. Take your time. It's okay. Wi-Fi, everybody. Wi-Fi, right?
What? Sorry. Capture. No? できない。Sorry. もう一度。クリア。さん。変更されますか ?Yes. one more. One more. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. That's okay.
では、これでいいのかな？どうすればいい？こうして、で、そう、ハロウィン。あった。いや、見えない。見えない。見えない。見えない。
Sometimes there's these small little problems as we're working online. Everybody, you know that. That's the way it goes.
Document. I open the document.
Okay. I'm doing Halloween at school too. The history of Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for
Yeah.
it.
It looks really cute.
So, share. Loading. Loading. Yeah. で、share. GG 名古屋 is share. Message. I test. Sorry. Message test. で、send. で、stop. で、step 1. First step, Halloween origin のドキュメントを開き、sorry、日本語で共有します。で、second,
Okay, so first you open the document, you share it. Second,
yeah. で、check, highlight. Next, GG 名古屋。Sorry.
who you save it with, yeah, or share it with.
Now, mask content. これができる。Sorry, これ、masks.
So you're masking those other
Mask, yes.
names and addresses.
Yeah. もう一回、ここも、mask. Yes. で、OK. Next, message. Click message and type message. Oh, next. これで終わっちゃった。Next, send. Click send. で、finish. Complete. で、Next. で、これを演奏する ?Play? いやー、
実用オープンオリジンオブハロビー Google ドキュメント&クリック共有します。非公開。
Next.
クリックハイライト。
Next.
クリックメモや Gmail のコン。
Next.
クリックメッセージ。
Next.
タイプメッセージ。
Next.
タイプメッセージ。
お
タイプメッセージ。
あら。Next.
クリック送信。
いや。これを、これで。Yes.
Thank you. So what IORAD does is actually take a website and then you can record step-by-step instructions on how to use that website. Very good, Kunie-san. I posted the IORAD link in the comments, so have a look at it. So you can, if you've got a website you want to use for step-by-step instructions with your students, IORAD is a great tool. And Kunie was presenting with our Japanese leaders just yesterday, I think. But it broadcasted today. Check out IORAD. Very, very cool tool. All right, now I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to jump into a few things about YouTube, because I love YouTube. This is one of my things I do lots of workshops on here. So, shameless plug, feel free to check out my channel, Social Studies Samurai. Had to put that in there. Okay, the first thing about YouTube actually that I want to show you is the YouTube audio library, right? So now my hands are a little bit slippery here. Now, we often have students, creating videos, and they want to use background music. And the big thing is we want them to be using copyright-free videos. Now, audio. So they like background music for their videos, right? So the YouTube audio library has thousands of songs that have been recorded, so that you can download for free. Most of them you do not have to cite the source. I always tell my students to be sure they cite the source. Now remember, this is the YouTube audio library. It is not YouTube music. People kind of mess that up sometimes. So right here you can see that you can search, right? So if you click on a search, you can start filtering. So I can go by maybe the genre. Let's, for the sake of this, go with ambient. Then I click apply, and then you'll notice here all the things under the genre tab are ambient. Maybe I also want to add, for example, the time. I've got like a duration, right? Like it's got to be about 1 minute, longer than 1 minute, but under. So here, like 23 minutes long. I'm not sure I really like that, but what you can do is here, then you just kind of click and listen. Okay, and now you might not have heard that because I'm using a Chrome, I'm not using the tab feature, but if you like the song, then you go over to the left here, and all you have to do is click download. I'll choose one that's a little bit shorter. Now you can also click, now some of them, if you, under the license type, you can click on it and it can tell you, for example here, no attribution is required. So the YouTube audio library is a great place. You can see I've got my MP3 downloaded where you can find copyright-free music, but I do encourage students to make sure they, they credit the source, right? So now another thing is filtering, right? So I'm going to just click on youtube.com, and so this is going to take me to YouTube. So let's say I want to find a particular kind of channel. In fact, let's say I want to find, let's go with TED Ed YouTube channel. TED Ed has amazing animations for students in, all grade levels kind of things. So why is that not going here? Let's TED Ed, and I'm just going to click on that. And okay, so now I'm at the TED Ed site. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do though, I'm going to click here. You see here it's got filters, right? So I've looked for TED Ed, but let's actually think maybe more for history. I'm going to click on history, and maybe I want the history of ancient Rome. This is, whoops, I put Roma, but I want ancient Rome. I don't type very well. So I've got all these videos on ancient Rome, but I want to really narrow it down. So let's say I want something, when I click on my filters here, I want something made at least this year, as current as possible. So now all these videos have been made in the last year. And you can tell that by, it says 8 months ago, 11 months ago, that kind of thing. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to go back to my filters. Maybe I want a video that's under 4 minutes because, we have short attention spans, right? So now I have something, all these videos are under 4 minutes. And I'm going to click on filters again. Maybe I want a 360-degree video because I want to do something like way cool with my students. And so now you can see here it's got 360 degrees. So this video is something students can engage with, scroll through, and that kind of thing. Let's see. Okay, let me go to my YouTube deck here. I'm gonna share this with you a little bit later, but I want to show you a few other little ideas. One is using YouTube with Padlet. Now, if you use Padlet for free, right, you only get 3 free pads now. It used to be 8, then it went to 4, and now it's 3. So how can I use Padlet throughout the whole course of the year? Well, this is something I created with my website here, that's Social Studies Samurai. But basically, I've chosen the map background. And with the map background in Padlet, you can add pins. So what I'm trying to do is create a map of all these interesting history stories around the world, right? Where my students can see that, places around the world do have a history. I've got things on women in history and women leaders, or ancient toilets in Rome. But what I've done is embedded YouTube videos. These are all from TED Ed, actually. And then I put a question, right, where my students can watch a video and engage with it and respond to it. So there's another way you can use YouTube with Padlet. So we've looked at the audio library, we've looked at filtering, and we've looked at connecting Padlet. I don't want to go too much into other things, but I encourage you to look for 360-degree videos. Totally cool. Create things like choice boards, right? In my Google Slides, you do a little app smashing. Let's see. Yeah, for example, here's one on April Fool's Day. So students can work in a jigsaw and use a choice board, and they can choose one and work together. I'm going to turn it back over though, because I think that's probably been about 5 minutes. But love the YouTube stuff. Next, we are going to hear again from Harpreet. She's going to go back into another cool thing about Google Docs. The first one was killer. So what else do you have here, Harpreet?
Yeah, but this one is about sharing. And when you make a copy of your stuff, I'm just going to share my screen before. When you make a copy of your stuff, sometimes, it is nice when you have instructions. So Google Docs can be a source or a tool for sharing. But at the same time, it is a source where you can use it as a tool, a very powerful tool, which has preloaded comments that can act as guided questions for your students. It can have additional resources like videos, links, recordings, and other assistance that you can give them through that document itself. So here, for example, I've got my document back on symmetry. I've got some comments I've added through different videos. I've given instructions. They have to do different tasks. So how do I want them? I don't want to share it on Classroom though, but I want them to have a copy and individually work on it and give an assignment back when it is done. And if they have questions, comments, they can do it right here by adding their comments. So I want to first make a copy of this. So one way you get a copy is you just have this URL on your Omnibox. You change the last bit, that's edit, to just copy. And you copy this URL, you share it with your kids. And if I open it here on another tab, you see it forces you to make a copy. Now, when you open this copy, it will just give you the copy and the child can rename it and share it back or just work on it as it is. But it does not give you the instructions or the comments that I shared. So how does that work? Now here, I'm going to just change this copy to something else, which is magical. It is copy, question mark, copy comments, equal true. I know it's a bit handful, a mouthful, but it is worth. I'm going to copy this again, open on a new tab to check. It pushes me to a forced copy of my document. And here, keeping fingers crossed, it comes. Voila! So you see, now my document has been copied with my instructions I want them to work on. So that is it. But I need to make sure now when I'm sending it to them, to make sure I have the copy sharing link with anyone with the link. They should be able to comment on it because I want them to comment, not edit the document, and done. If you just share this link with the copy comments true, it would just let them view it. But here I'm going to share it with my sharing rights that I give them to comment. So that's pretty much it. I think it will come really handy. So do give it a try. Copy. I'm going to type it here just for a quick check. So I'm going to go here. So making it a bit bold. So it is copy, question mark, copy comments, equal true. And this will do the magic by a forced copy along with transporting your comments or your instructions. So that's it, I guess. Quite handy.
Aaron, you seem so jazzed about that. Say something.
I actually moved my mouse out of the way because I was writing that down. I make comments like on all kinds of stuff on templates all the time to share to kids, and then when I go to copy it, it's always disappearing, and I'm like, why do I even like bother? That is fantastic. Thank you so much.
All right, and we're turning it over.
Super.
You're up
Cool.
next. So we had Google Classroom, but show us some pretty sweet stuff with Google Gmail, actually.
Oh, I don't know how sweet it's going to be, but it's something that bothers me all the time, and that is signatures. All right, so everybody, you need to set your signature in your Gmail. So, and then I love settings. I just played with settings in Classroom, so I'm going to play with settings again here. All right, so let's go here. Wait, I'm using the wrong. Nope. I can do this. I can so do this. Here we go. All right, tab. And this one. All right, so there we go. You can see my model Gmail here. All right, so to set your signature, to set any of your settings in Gmail, go up here to the gear. You gotta love the gear, and you see the basic settings here on how to set up how it looks. But right here at the top is this see all settings. All right, when you go into here, you have got so many settings to mess with in your Gmail. You've got your general, your labels, your accounts, all of these different things. But I'm just gonna talk about signatures and this main list here. So if you scroll down here to the bottom, you will find signature. You can add as many different signatures as you want. You can change between them. I send out some things for my job, and I send out some things personally in all these different places. So I want to have multiple different signatures. You just go to create new, and then you pick a name, and then say create, and the box is going to come up here, and then you can type it, or you can go to a website. If you Google make my signature creator or fantastic Gmail signature editor, you'll come up with all these different sites where you can type in your data, and then it will generate you, like this one is one I just did like a couple seconds ago. But it just put everything in there, and then I just copied and pasted into here. So go find a pretty email signature generator, make something pretty. A lot of us GEG leaders, we like to put little tiny logos about our GEG stuff in there. I put my Twitter logo in there, and I put all kinds of other stuff in there. Before you leave, though, you have to set up your signature defaults. So when are you going to use it? So which one do you want to use for new emails? Which one is going to be your default? If you reply, which one are you going to use? And then the very, very, very last thing, make sure you check this insert signature before quoted text and replies, and remove the -- line. You ever notice that in emails where like a person's signature isn't there, or it's like on the bottom below everything else? Check that box. You'll be fine. But then go to the bottom and click save. I know you're not used to save because it's Google and everything usually auto saves, but you have to click save. And then when you click go, your signature will automatically populate right there, and you can just start typing your email. All right, so make yourself a pretty signature and put it in there, and then you can change between them and do whatever you want. And if you haven't played around in there, go play around in your settings. Go see what other kinds of fun stuff is in there. Another thing I really like is the vacation responder, and then it sends out the email when you're gone. All those fun things. Yeah, I live in Japan. Everybody emails a lot, so I have to use all these settings all the time. So play with your settings. Make yourself a pretty signature. That is all.
That is totally cool. And so we're going to hand it over to Pana. But while she does that, could you actually, Aaron, grab some email signature, like 1 or 2 websites you think that make your signatures pretty? And we are going to turn it over to Pana. And you're going to tell us, connected to Gmail, we've got some background noise going on there. Not sure what it is, but calendar, Google Calendar, some really cool stuff. Go for it, Pana.
Hello, so I'm going to talk about Google Calendar and some very useful tips. So let me just share my screen and quickly go there. So I'm going to talk about.
We can't quite see your. Oh,
yeah. Is my screen visible?
You're good to go. Thank you. I didn't see it a moment ago, but you're good to go.
Yeah. So it's just loading. A second. Just a minute. I'm so sorry. It's just loading. So I'm going to talk about Google Calendar, wherein some of the useful tips are there about color coding. Okay. So first key tip I would use to tell you is that we should not have many calendars on our interface of Google Calendar. So you can see my Google Calendar, and I have very few calendars here. Of course, we can hide them by just clicking that, or we can just, if we tick it, you can see that calendar on our interface. The other tip is about using color for events and calendars. So how we can do that? So suppose I'm clicking here and I'm picking a time slot, and I want a demo slam. And if I want to change it with the other calendar, so if I click on that, I can select the event color as I want, and it turns it. I can directly add my Google Meet as well from here if I want. And of course, I have integrated Zoom as well. So if I want a Zoom meeting, I can directly go and hit that button, and it will automatically save that as well as a Zoom meeting. Of course, I have to sign in. And if I click on the Google Meet, which is already signed in, here my meeting is created. So this is how it is created, and I have to just click on save. Now, if you can see, there are two colors here. So one is the blue, which shows that this is the calendar of my personal account, which is a school account, and this color shows the meeting which I have done with the other color. So it is specifically showing me what I want. Now, another thing I can do is demo 2. If I click on reminder, what it will tell me, it will directly show me the reminder. So this is not going to um, uh, show here on this, but it will always remind me. If I click on all day, it is going to remind me. It will pop up on my calendar, even on my mobile, and I can just get a reminder whenever I have this meeting. So if I click on save, of course, I have to take this reminder from my calendar as well. If I do not click, it will not show up. But if I click it, it will show up. Similarly is with task. Another thing which I would like to show you is about the meeting. But let me first go for the settings. Okay. So how I want my calendar to display the time zone. So here I have time zone. So if I click on display secondary time zone, and if I have always meeting with other country wherein or where I'm working, or I have webinars with other countries, and I want to click that meeting. So if I can just click that, and I can choose the time zone whatever I want. Suppose if it is New York, and which I am regularly having, then what it will have is it is already saved. And now you can see here two time zones on my screen. So one is my personal, and the other one is the New York time zone. So this is how it looks, and it is already So you can always go with your different time zone and quickly see if you want to fix a meeting and see at what time it would be in the other location. Quickly you can just check it out and book the meeting accordingly. Another setting I would show you is about the week numbers. If I click on general and go on this view option, so it will land up here. And if I click on this show week numbers, suppose I want to get notified that which week it is. Always we write which week it is in our lesson plans, especially when we are designing the lesson plans. So this helps us to notify which week it is. So now if you go to settings, go back in. Now, if you go back, you can see here it is showing me which week it is. So it is week 41, which is showing me. The other one more setting which I will show you, which is very, very beautiful, is about showing your hours, setting working hours and location. So again, if you go to settings, click on settings and go on this working hours and location. Now, if I click here, enable my working hours and enable my working location, and suppose I want this for Monday to Friday, and I want to add it here with the time zone. If I want to, this is my timings, school timings. If I want to change it, I can change it to 4. And then, so for everything I will be changing. If I want to set the location where I am going to be, so suppose now currently we are doing sometimes online and sometimes we are like virtual and sometimes we go to school, suppose. So what I can do is where I will be. So Monday I will be working from home, so I can choose that. On Tuesday, I'll be working from office or school, whatever I want. Again, it is office. And again, Thursday, it is home. And Friday, suppose I want to go somewhere else. It's not fixed on Fridays, so I can just set up as my uh, sister's home. I can add it. So what will happen? This is going to show me in my calendar as well. So now you can see here, everything is here. So quickly, it also helps me to get reminded that where I am going to be. So this calendar. On Monday, it is home. On Tuesday, 1 minute, let me just stop this so you can see it properly. Okay, so on Tuesday it is at office, and again here, so it is all showing me the locations where I'm going to be in this throughout this week. I can set this throughout the month as well. One more thing is, suppose I want the last one which I would like to show is I have created a meeting for, suppose it's just an hour, and I have created it with Google Meeting and I'm saving it. Now what can I do is, I want this is at sister's place. I want to just choose a color. 1 minute. If I click on this and put right click here, I can also choose the color specifically for this so that it will be highlighted. So it shows me that on Friday, I am going to have my meeting, which is at my sister's place, and this is an office work. So it is showing me with the blue color and this the other color as well. So this is how you can set your calendar with wonderful things. I showed you about the week numbers, and I showed you about the Zoom meeting as well, about the, if of course if you have the time zone, I showed you about addition of time zone as well. And this one, if you click here, if you have, you can see with whom you have the meeting, for how many people, for what was the time limit. So you can adjust your working hours as well with this time. So it is a wonderful notification for you also, which keeps you updated with all your things with the Google, with calendar. One more thing which I would like to tell you is about,
We should probably try to start winding things down. We're hitting 45 minutes now. We got a couple more to go, if that's all right.
So
Yeah.
thank you. I would show you some the other thing with later. The last one which I would be showing was the Google Doc integration. If I click on Doc and if I click @ I type @ it is quickly going to show me meeting notes. So what is there? I can just quickly choose whichever meeting I want, and it comes here. I can add the note. Do not forget this meet. I can add a note and I can share it with the people I want. Click share button. So what happens is it directly adds up here in my, okay, it is not showing up. 1 minute. Okay, it is not showing. One more thing which about Google Doc is the new latest update of watermark.
Okay, but actually, can we wind down here so we can get on to Kunie
Yeah,
and then the last one, if that's all right?
thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, sort of cut
So
you
I
off there,
hope it
but
would be helpful.
great ideas with Google Calendar. A few things in there actually that I didn't realize were new updates, but we're going to turn it over now to Kunie. Now, everyone, we try to keep these to about 45 minutes, but we do have a couple of other things planned. So we're going to try to keep Kunie, if we can keep it under 5 minutes, and then I'm going to show you some form stuff, and then we'll get you the certificate, everybody. So Kunie, 5分以内にできるだけ短くしてくださいね。
Share screen.
Okay, ちょっと待ってね。Yep.
Yeah. But I can't use let's view. Soこれどうすればいい？ Sorry. ちょっと待って。Change camera.
Okay.
Yeah. じゃあもうそのまま。I clips.
Okay.
Yeah. Tapped clips. I select board. I choose this picture and push 録音なんて言うんだ録音します。
先生、ちょっと見づらいので、やっぱり Let's View 使って見せた方がいいと思うんですけど。
Let's View が使えない。Let's View が、今日 Chromebook を使ってて。
はい。はい。ちょっと見づらいので、そのままだったら大丈夫と思う。I think we can see that now, so.
よし。では、頑張ります。固定しない。じゃあ、もう一度。ごめんなさい。5分以内。押して、写真を選びます。ここで。
So you open it, you choose a photo.
Photo. And いろいろ エフェクト
You choose effects.
and ここでテロップ追加します。で、プッシュボタン。This is lantern. This is lantern. Japanese lantern. よし。で、これは、美濃和紙で作ったランタンです。簡単にできます。風船に和紙をちぎって貼って作りました。Yeah. This is easy. So, yeah.
Clips is a really, really cool tool, folks. So definitely recommend you check out Clips. All right. So just give me a couple of minutes and we're going to wind down with showing you some things with Google Forms that maybe you use, maybe you don't. But just give me a couple of minutes here because I absolutely love Google Forms. It's totally cool. Remember, my examples are pretty much with a history class, but I hope you do like this stuff. All right. So we gotta keep you muted there, Sensei. Sorry. All right. So one thing I think is really important is Yamada Sensei wa chotto hoka no oto ga kikoemasu node I can hear something else. So let's stay muted, please. Mute shite kudasai ne. Hi. Okay. So Google Forms has a feature where you can create quizzes where students get feedback. So I'm just quickly going to put, a bunch of stuff in here. And I'm going to choose my class, my section, and I'm not really going to think about this. I'm just going to write some answers here, and just so you can see how it works. So I've built this using Google Forms quizzes. I will post a tutorial video in the chat. But the way this is used is before we start something, the students get a quiz and they check their knowledge, and they automatically get a response to all of the their responses. So here you can see that they can view the score, and this automatically gets sent to them in their email. And so how did I do? Oh my goodness, I got nothing right. But you can see here where, number one, the students see what the correct answer is. Yeah, right there. But also, I've given them feedback so they can see feedback that's already pre-written for them. And so whether they get it right or wrong, they get the same feedback. They have a video link, or they have a link to a web page where they can learn more and then go back and try the test later. So you can see here, I've got lots of feedback, and then, and again, sometimes links and videos and that. So that's Google Forms quizzes. You can add points if you want or not. It doesn't really matter. So let's see. Nope, we're giving you that one at the end. Here's another one. You've heard of breakout rooms. Sometimes they're called escape rooms. All right, so I'm going to put N, K, and E for our Japan leaders here today. No, actually, I'm going to put all of us in here. We got Kana, we got Harpreet as well. So those are our partners' names. And so here they get their first hint. A man was murdered 5,300 years ago. And the way I've set this is that the response has to be exact. Note here, it says the answer is one word and case sensitive. So I go to Google search and I look around and I use this as a hint, and then I try to find what the right answer is. Or maybe it could be just a challenge to see if they remember vocabulary or something. So I think that's otsi. So I've entered it, but whoopsie, and I chose that word, whoopsie. I got it wrong, and I'm like, well, I know it's otsi. What did I do wrong? Oh, wait, it's case sensitive. Let me try that. And then, boom, there they go. It says, nicely done. There must have been a sudden freeze because the man's corpse was preserved well. And then they get their next, hint, and they go on and on. They can't move on until they've got this particular question right. So I get students to work in pairs when they do this. It's a digital escape room, which is quite fun. Another one is choose your own adventure. It takes a little time to build, but here's an example. This is what I'm building for my students, so it's not finished yet. But it's, how does someone become a refugee, right? And I want them to understand the process of being a refugee, but we're going to gamify it. So I click next. And so here they get their situation, and then they have one or two options. So let's say they choose option 2, click next. And it takes them to the, you chose option 2. And then it says, okay, you feel good about your decision. What do you do next? And they have the next options and you click, and then it takes them, you chose option 2A1. And then, of course, they just kind of keep going like a choose your own adventure book. Google Forms, Google Slides as well is good for this. I want to show you another one too, which is pretty cool. Let's say I want to create a map. I'm just going to go in here just for the sake of time. I'm going to choose Google My Maps. But what I did, so I'm going to create, but what I did is use a Google form for my students to put their information in. This is an example of what I literally did with the students. And so I got their, the place names and things like that. But here I am in a Google My Map, and I'm going to choose this import feature. Now you want to change your title and all that kind of stuff. But what we're looking for is something in Google Drive, right? And it's called, I'm just going to go global conflict. I'm going to copy that title. I'm going to search for it. I'm going to paste it in there. And there it is. It pops right up. And remember, I collected this with a Google form. And I've taken the details. Now, when you do this, you actually have to have your location. So one of your questions has to be, where is it? So you check location there, you check it again, and watch this. This is beautiful. I love this. Boom. We have got a world map. So if you click preview, then you can see what, basically the kids did their research. They made some videos and things. And all I had to do was take their details. And now we've got a class map that we made so we could tweet it out and share with the world. YouTube videos, just going to remind you that, put a video in, but put your questions first. What I like about using Google Forms for quizzes with video is that students can take their time and they do it at their own pace. I always put the questions first because I want them to read the questions first. Let's see, that's another breakout room. We've already done that. Last one, class. I call this classroom coolness, but basically it's a bio blitz, or we had our grade 12 students walk around the room and take photos of icons around our campus that show legacy, because we want them to talk about, hey, when you're going to graduate, what legacy do you want to leave? So the idea is we put them in groups. So they chose their group A, B. And so I've got my thing right here. You notice here, I'm getting them to add an image. Now, you could do a bio blitz where they're walking around and looking at things in nature. It could be a legacy walk where they're looking at different examples of legacies around school, or whatever you want, really. So I've taken an example of a photo that I took. And let's see, I'm going to select files from my device. I'm using my phone here. So basically, students walk around with their smartphones. You give them a link to the form. And let's see, I'm going to take a photo. I'm going to access the camera here. Let me just take a photo. I'm going to use the photo, and then I'm going to upload it. And so then I would get students to kind of explain how it relates to the topic kind of thing. And then I click submit. So essentially on my phone now, what I have with the form, if I go to it and I look at my responses, I can look at my Drive folder. You see here it says Drive folder. So I'm going to click continue. I've reached my limit kind of thing. So that might hold me back. Let me just go view folder. So all the photos that the students take from, snapping on their phone end up right in here. And so anyway, I've maxed out my thing, but what'll happen is all the photos they take will automatically appear in Google Drive. Now, if I do that, maybe it'll pop up. I think, I've reached my limit. You can have up to 1 gigabyte. So I got to clean this up. Last one, and this is the one that you all want. We've got a participant certificate. So we're going to get you to put in your email address and your full name. And the way I've set this up, I've used something called Autocrat. And I am going to post in the comments how you can do this. I've got a video there of that strange looking person teaching you how to do this. But basically what happens is if you fill out this form, and let's see, I'm gonna use my name, Nathan Gildart, at gmail.com. And I'm going to put Nate Gildart. And if I fill this out, okay, so I'm going to click submit another response. But what happens is I get a certificate emailed to me. So let me go to my inbox here. Let me close that. Let me just refresh because it might take a moment. And basically what happens is the certificate of participating today is automatically mailed to me. So trust me, it works. It's just, I guess I got a little bit of too many tabs open or something like that. Still loading. I'll just wait one more moment. Whoa, let's trash that. That's not supposed to come up there. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, try it out. It's going to work. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Please complete this form for a certificate. And you will get that auto-generated certificate. And I'm also going to post in the chat how you can make it. And I'm going to do that like right now. So I'm going to ask our panel of people to unmute. And final thoughts before we kind of wrap things up here.
I think it was a very power-packed session, and epic, what I would call it. So it was amazing Saturday evening, where you have still time a day before you start with your work on Mondays to explore all these useful tips and tricks. So I guess it was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was really amazing getting connected with you all and sharing some learnings, whatever I have, some useful tips. Of course, there was a technical glitch which I couldn't go further, but then it was really amazing. And thank you, Nate, and thank you, Erin, and thank you, Kuni, Harpreet. It was really a wonderful weekend.
I want to thank everybody who's here watching and commenting. Thank you guys so much. Like, we are all excited to come and do this, but it's nice that there's people out there like learning from it. So thanks. And thank you guys for sharing stuff. I loved it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I learned a lot.
Yeah, some fantastic ideas. So we'll just remind you, everybody, we've posted some tutorials in there. Have a look at Google Educator Groups, our monthly sessions. The next one is the second week of November on a Saturday, and we're going to talk about gamification. And boy, I've got some ideas for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I posted the link to where you can find not GEG Nagoya, but the GEG APAC monthly sessions. And again, I'll post the certificate one more time in the comments so that you can auto-generate and get your certificate made. And hey, my certificate came. In fact, you know what? Let me just share my screen because I want everybody to know that, yes, this does work. It might take a moment, but hey, this is how it goes. All right, so there it is. Thank you for joining GEG APAC Monthly Live October 21. All of this stuff is pre-made. And if I look here, blam, there's my certificate. So please fill out that form if you'd like a certificate and, prove that, yes, you are a learner. All right, so we're going to wind down the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We've got people in India and Japan. Like, this is totally way cool. Loved it. Great ideas. Thank you for planning and sharing, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good
Bye.
night.